Hey guys, this is Omer from MMOHut.com. I'm doing another quick weekly recap of MMO news and announcements for the week ending January 22nd. Anyway, as you can see from the video playing in the background, the first piece of news that we're going to take a look at this week has to do with League of Legends. And the news is that on January 16th, Riot Games released the new Sejuani champion, which you can see in action in the background, which is actually from the champion spotlight, which is also worth checking out if you are a League player. And aside from the new champion, a few balance changes have also been introduced to the game. Most notably, the Jax remake is now part of the game. Ari received a small nerf, and Dr. Mundo received a slight buff, though Dr. Mundo is still pretty much unloved and he isn't played that much. But aside from that, a bunch of other smaller changes have also been made. With the addition of Sejuani, League of Legends now has over 90 champions, around there at least, which is definitely impressive. The next bit of news, guys, comes on January 18th, and it's about Eden Eternal. The news is that aside from a major update, Eden Eternal adds a new Samurai class to the game. The new Samurai class is a new powerful DPS class that utilizes both buffs and physical attacks. The update also adds the Monster Arena to the game, where players take the form of dungeon bosses in a 3v3 arena style battle to earn honor stars, as well as a revamped Territory Wars and 2 new level 60 hero trial dungeons. And in case you're wondering, this video in the background is actually an old trailer for Eden Eternal, actually their open beta trailer. Next bit of news, guys, on January 18th, 2012 is from NeoWiz, the same guys behind War of Angels in North America. And the news is they announced 7 Souls Online in North America. Now, 7 Souls Online is the exact same game as Martial Heroes. Well, not Martial Heroes, Martial Empires. There we go. It's the exact same game as Martial Empires. Martial Empires is the EU version of this exact game. So it's kind of weird that the North American version is finally launching while the EU version of the game has been around for so long already. In fact, the 7 Souls Online website has been around for quite a while, but the game is finally getting around to actually launching. The game is scheduled to launch sometime this spring. Next up on January 19th, Luvinia Online reveals a new area in the game called Savagella, if I said that correctly. Savagella, however you pronounce it. The area offers 100 new quests for players, 20 new types of monsters to kill, new materials to mine, new equipment, and more. The area is aimed at players over the level of 40. Luvinia Online is published by Outspark, in case you didn't know, and as you can tell by the graphics, it looks a bit like Secret of the Solstice. Well, only a bit. The next bit of news comes on January 19th as well, and it's about Dungeons & Dragons Online. The news is they unveiled the latest Menace of the Underdark expansion pack to the game. It's actually the first expansion to DDO, certainly not the first update, but the first expansion pack. It will raise the game's level cap to 25, which features epic level progression. And the reason level cap was 20 in DDO is because 20 is sort of the level cap in Dungeons & Dragons, the pen and paper style game. Menace of the Underdark will also add new areas to the game, such as, you guessed it, the Underdark as well as Cormor, which are both iconic areas in Forgotten Realms. Now, DDO itself is incredibly popular and has only gained in popularity since going free to play. However, this expansion pack will likely be only available to premium users. Turbine certainly did not set out the exact specifications for the expansion quite yet, but again, it will likely only be available to paying users, at least at the start. Also included in the update is a new Druid class. The next bit of news, guys, comes on January 19th, and it is about Lime Odyssey Online from Area Games, and the news is actually pretty small. The news is that they announced a new farming system in the game, and again, it's not exactly a bit of big news, but I did want to mention the game is still being updated and will actually eventually launch. Lime Odyssey Online was originally announced quite a while ago, but the game is still being worked on, and it is scheduled to launch sometime in 2012. They didn't exactly specify when, but sometime in 2012. And farming is actually a pretty cool system in the game, if it's done well. I've always been a fan of, like, Harvest Moon games. I mean, Harvest Moon N64, what a great game. How about Friends of Mineral Town for GBA? Another great game. I played those games to death. But yeah, the only reason I mentioned this Lime Odyssey farming system is because the game is still not out yet, but they are making some progress towards actually releasing the game eventually, and it is a 3D anime-inspired MMORPG, as you can quickly tell by the gameplay video in the background. Unfortunately, Area Games did not release an open beta or a closed beta date for the game. Again, all we know is sometime in 2012. Next up, GBT announced a big expansion for Outlaws Online on January 19th, 2012, and the expansion is called Game of Gods, and is scheduled to launch sometime in February. Now, over 100 new quests and a new raid will be a part of the content update. Additionally, a new class, the Bard, will also be added to the game. And you can see the Bard in action right now, just playing that lute. Aside from the new class and the 100 new quests in the game, a new battlegrounds will also be added, as well as faster ship combat, an increased level cap, and more. Though I should emphasize the level cap, because in most expansion packs, the higher level cap is almost always the key part of the update. The level cap is expanding from 47 to 51. The next bit of news is something we mentioned last week, and the news is that Combat Arms actually launched the Belly of the Beast update, which introduced a new PvE map to the game, a new quick join feature, as well as new forged weapons. As I've mentioned before, Nexon has always been on the ball with keeping their games up to date. I mean, MapleStory has seen so many updates already, and Combat Arms as well. Even though Combat Arms is one of the older free-to-play shooting games with not the best graphics, it still remains extremely popular. This update officially launched on January 19th. Well guys, that's it for MMO news, but as for games coming soon, we have nothing. Well, we do still have Mythos Global, which is launching on February 2nd, but we already mentioned that last week. But for games that recently launched, we have Silk Road R, which officially launched from open beta to full release on January 18th. And this is the official launch trailer / introduction trailer for Silk Road R, even though it's pretty much the same exact game as Silk Road Online, with some minor gameplay changes to the faster experience rate, as well as some class rebalances. The original Silk Road Online will still remain in service. The next and last game that launched this week recently is Star Trek Online, which officially went free to play on January 17th, 2012. I'm not sure why I still say the year sometimes, but yeah, it's 2012. Star Trek Online is yet another pay-to-play game gone free-to-play. The game's developer Cryptic was purchased by Perfect World, which specialized in free-to-play games, so seeing Star Trek Online go free-to-play was not that big of a surprise. The game itself was not super popular as a pay-to-play game, but it wasn't a failure either. Now that the game has gone free-to-play though, the game has some restrictions for free-to-play users, such as restrictions on guild creation, energy credit storage, as well as some various other features in the game. You have limited character slots, bridge officer slots, and some of those really annoying things. But the limitations on free-to-play users is not super restrictive, and I'm sure even the current restrictions will be loosened later on. Also worth mentioning, the video you're seeing in the background is the official free-to-play launch trailer for STO, or Star Trek Online. Anyway guys, that's it for MMO news and announcements for the week ending January 22nd, 2012. Now if you want to read about or learn more about anything in this video, any of the news mentioned in this video, simply head on over to MMOHut.com/news. And if you want to discuss anything in this video, simply head on over to MMOHut.com/forums. Anyway guys, this is Omer, signing off.